Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another episode of What Did I Play This Thursday? So, very chilly morning today here in this very snowy, kind of frosty UK. Hence being a bit layered up today. It's a bit chilly. But last night I ventured out in the frost and snow to my local board game club and we played a new game. So this is my first impressions of that new game to me. So it's not necessarily a kind of complete overview or a run through of the rules or anything like that. It's literally just my first impressions to give you an idea of how this game plays. So let me just tell you what the game is, and then I'll talk to you about it and see what we think. So the game is Anno 1800. So this is a Martin Wallace game from Cosmos. I don't know how old it is. I get a feeling it's been out a little while, but so I think it started as a computer game, a PC game, sort of Civ city building thing, and then he obviously brought it to the tabletop. And so one of my friends brought it along last night, and we gave it a go. Whew. Well. So people have described this game as the Euro game. So it's very Euro-y. It's I want to say it's quite dry, but it's not really. It's kind of thematic in as much as you're kind of building this kind of empire of um, like tech trees, empire of sort of production chains. You know, you're sort of you're building this to produce that, to produce that, to build this, to produce that. It's that kind of chain of events that you're trying to build up to enable you to score points, basically, at the end of the day. Um, I'll give you a quick run through of how the game kind of plays, and then I'll tell you my feelings about it. So there's this huge board laid out in front of you with all of these different options that you can try to achieve to manufacture, basically things like soap and cotton and coffee, and then it goes into sort of tech stuff like clocks and spectacles and steam engines and things like that. And then there's a section for building boats and getting things that you can kind of ship in from other countries and things like that. And you've got a player board, which is sort of a standard setup of the initial build factories and things like that. So you've got there's a little farming section. So you've got planks of wood, wheat, pigs, which is obviously pork. Which obviously things like pork you would maybe render the fat to make candles or things like that. Coal, steel, these are the things that you kind of start with. So you've got these little factories on your main player board that you can then place workers. So you've got a set of cubes. I think you start with kind of 4 farmers, little green cubes, 3, let's say engineers, no, engineers, workers, I think 3 workers, and then 2 engineers. And then you move those down. Each of the factories have got different coloured requirements. So the wheat and the plank and the pigs, for instance, potatoes, you can move a green worker onto those to achieve one of those productions of one of those items. If you move the blue one down to a blue area, things like steel and coal, you produce one of those items, and then the red ones come down to produce, I can't really remember, another slightly higher echelon item. So you basically bring your workers down onto those little factories to produce those items, and the reason is you're trying to claim off this big array of things that you want to achieve. They've all got a cost. So, for instance, you might want to try and build a I can't think of an example for you now. Oh, crumbs. I'll go for it. I think this is a bit further along in the game, but let's say, for instance, you want to achieve glass. The cost to build glass is, let's say, steel and coal. So you must produce 1 steel, 1 coal, and then you can take the glass production off of the board and put it onto your board. So you move your workers down to glass and steel, coal and steel rather, and take the glass and you put that on your board and you flip it over. It then becomes a factory that builds glass, manufactures glass. And so you're trying to slowly build up your. It kind of works from. I was playing upside down actually, so right to left. It's left to right. You've kind of got the slightly lower end stuff building right up to the very complex stuff. So you kind of slowly build your way across the board by taking these things, by moving your workers and building the items that are needed to claim those factories, then get them on your board. Now you do have a finite amount of space on your board. It's mainly greenery and then a little coastline. And on the coastline there's shipbuilding factories, and in the sea, there's one row of sea are your ships that you can build. So you're trying to build all these things onto your board, but then obviously you're going to run out of space. You either then overlay factories that are already there. So say, for instance, you've got a potato factory, potato farm. You might not be using that. So when you get your glass factory, you might overlay that on top of the potatoes when you're never going to use that again, or you haven't been using it. And so you lose the capability of building or farming potatoes because you overlaid it with glass, a glass factory. And that's kind of, that's the gamble you take, is what you're sort of overlaying and stuff like that. But at certain points in the game, you can then also expand your territory, and they call it discovering the old world. You just grab an extra tile and you put that on. You have to pay a price to do that, and you put it onto the side of your board, and you can then expand a little bit more into free space. And all of these things that you do, so expanding into a new territory, so not new territory, but the old world, expanding your old world, that costs things that you've got on your ships, little exploration tiles. You pay those to claim a tile. And also, if you were trying to build something and you haven't got the actual appropriate manufacturing plant to build, say, rum, somebody else may have already built a factory that produces rum, so you can actually trade with them. And on some of your ships, you've got these little tokens that are little S's. I don't know what the S stands for, but it's trading tokens anyway. Oh, it's like a sort of exchangey sort of yin yang arrow. It's not an S. It looks like an S. So that's obviously exchanging goods, trading goods. So you kind of pay one of those to use their plant to then achieve something you want. So you pay a trading token, and they actually get a gold from the bank as well, as a kind of a payment, if you like, for them. And so you go through this whole thing. You basically, every turn, you're kind of either building a new thing, if you can afford to do it with your movement of your workers, and you've got space on your production plants, because you've only got 2 spaces on each production plant. So you build things, you get new things. You can expand your territory. That's another thing you can do. You can upgrade your workers. So say you've got your 4 green workers and you're not using them, but you're short of blue workers. You can upgrade a green to a blue by paying a certain price. And then upgrade a blue to a red, things like that. You can. The whole point of all of this production, by the way, is that you've got some cards that you start with, seven of one type and 2 of another, slightly higher value, and they are kind of achievement cards, production things that you need to achieve that will get you your victory points. So, for instance, one of the cards might say, if you produce a fur coat and an overall and a barrel of beer, or like a glass of beer, so 3 different things. Fur coat is a sort of cloth kind of factory. Barrel of beer, that kind of stuff. So if you achieve those factories, once you get those factories, you can then play this card as achieved, like an achievement card. It's got victory points on it for the end of the game, and also there's another bonus. So it might say take an extra worker, or take some of the little say S's exchange goods tokens, or the exploration tokens that you can then buy new areas of land and stuff like that. So each of these cards you're trying to achieve by building these various things, and that's the whole point, is that obviously they get more and more difficult, and you're kind of expanding and trying to chain it all together so you can get the higher value cards worth more points, but they take more production of items that you need to get built to get those cards. It sounds convoluted, and it is convoluted, and it is very, very I don't know what to do now to get that, and I know I need to build that. Oh no, I can't afford to do that because I need this. Very, very Euro-y in that kind of trying to balance it all up so you can get it all done. And the funny thing is, the game end is triggered by somebody getting rid of all their cards. So you think about it, you've got 7 of one type and 2 of another. So you've got 9 cards that you need to achieve those targets, get them built, and you're done. You would think that'd be quite a quick thing, but this is a trick. Every time you get a new worker, so some of the cards, when you achieve that card, it'll say take 2 blue workers and add them to your force. So yay, I've got more blue workers. But for every new worker you get, you have to take another 2 cards. So for every worker you get, you take another card. So if you get 2 new blue workers, you get 2 new cards. So you've just got rid of 1 card out of your 9, and you've suddenly got 2 more. You've got 11 now. It's like, it's this kind of balancing act of trying to get your cards achieved and also get rid of your cards. But then you get more cards as you achieve some of the things that it's a right old balancing hoo-ha. But really enjoyable, the whole thing. And so, as I say, the end game trigger is when somebody gets rid of all their cards, you do one more final round, and then you score up all the cards and things that you've achieved. So it's kind of counterintuitive to not do your cards, but it is. You need to do your cards, but then you get more cards. Oh, it's a right old faff. I would say that upon more playing of this game, you would get very kind of aligned with what you're trying to achieve, the things that you're trying to do, the way that you need to get certain things built, the way that you can maybe get other people to build them, and then you kind of exchange goods with them rather than you building it yourself, because the cost is kind of comparative if you trade. Really, really nice. The components are really lovely. Nice little cube tiles that you lay out on your board. When you buy them as a good, you then flip over so it's a producing factory of that good, and you have it on your master board sort of thing. The cards are lovely. All the colours are really good. It's a massive kind of board of, I want to say, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's probably 48 to 55, 56 kind of tiles. 55? Where did I get that odd number from? Yeah, it's like an even number of tiles, I think. This is like sort of 56 tiles maybe that you're trying to slowly go from left to right and achieve a path through those. You don't have to do them all, obviously, but you might want to do sort of 25 of them. So it's a lot to choose. You kind of get that point where you think, so it's a bit AP, where you're, what do I do? So I go down this path to try and build this item, or should I go this path to build this item, or should I just use their item because they've already built it? I don't need to build it myself. Really, really tricky, really convoluted, very brain burnery, but not in a bad way. I really enjoyed it. I think for sure, yeah, on repeat plays you will get better at it because you'll understand where you're kind of aiming for. Yeah, really nice game. I really liked it. I mean, there are a couple of things I haven't mentioned. Things like you can discover the new world where you get to get certain extra things like raw cotton or coffee beans, things like that. But only you can achieve those because you've discovered the new world. And there are a few bonus cards as well. That if you get certain things throughout the game, you get bonuses at the end of the game. And there's like a sort of bonus card. If you're the first person to get rid of all your cards, you've triggered the end game, so you get an extra 7 points. Little card that says I triggered the end, like firework thing. So yeah, a few things that I've not mentioned, but generally a very dry Euro game. But it kind of is thematic. I get it. It kind of feels like you're building this kind of tech tree of industrial. I guess that's it. That's sort of 1800s industrial revolution. Really good. Really enjoyed it. We'll definitely give this a few more extra plays, try and sort of hone our skills on it. The other guys really enjoyed it as well, and none of us have played it before. So yeah, definitely recommend this one, Anno 1800 by Martin Wallace. Really getting a good thumbs up from me. Hopefully we'll play it a few times and get better at it. I don't think I won. No, I think I came last. That's me. Okay then, team. Hopefully this has been useful for you. A bit of information about a game you might not have seen or heard of, and I would definitely recommend giving it a try. Convoluted, but very exciting and fun. Thanks. See you on the next one.